welcome to 06880, the podcast. My guest today is Helen McAlinden. She is the president and CEO of Homes with Hope, and that is Westport's amazing nonprofit organization. They're dedicated to preventing and ending homelessness throughout Fairfield County. They run the Gillespie Men's Shelter, the Hoskins Place for Women. They operate other housing too, including groups for young women and mothers with children. They run a food pantry and they serve daily dinners for people in need. It's a fantastic organization, and Helen is a wonderful leader. All of Fairfield County, Helen, is in your debt, but as soon as you open your mouth, people will know that you're not from around here. So tell us, how'd you end up in the U.S. and then eventually in Westport?
Hi, Dan. Thank you for having me on your 06880 blog today. I am not from Westport. I'm from Ireland originally, and I came to America when I was 17 years of age, right after high school. And eventually I ended up going to college in America and not going home to go to college, which wasn't a high topic with my parents at the time, and went to Manhattan College and then later on to Fairfield University. And I guess my beginnings with working with the homeless population began shortly after arriving from Ireland, when I got involved with the Ashleen Irish Centre, which is located in the Bronx. And part of giving back when people came from Ireland was being involved with the Ashleen Irish Centre and doing volunteer opportunities. And they had many, many opportunities. But I loved going to Manhattan with the group of volunteers and just helping out with the homeless that lived at, or that hung out at 42nd Street, and we used to make sandwiches and go there, and every week it was you'd meet people and kind of hope you didn't meet somebody that they had already got into housing, and it was just a great opportunity to give back. And it was what we were taught when we came from Ireland, that you get some opportunities in America and you make the most of them, but you also have to give back.
So you came to America and you saw in this land of opportunity that there was a great need. Did that surprise you? And you know, what did it make you think about America?
I always thought America was great. I always watched American programs in black and white at home. And when I was growing up, I watched Starsky and Hutch and all these different American programs. And I also always thought, oh, I'd love to go to America. But I had a different illusion. I kind of thought that there wasn't too much poverty in America, because we didn't see that on television too much. But when I saw that there was a need, I wanted to be part of the solution and be somebody that could help out. Even though I didn't have a lot, I always felt that no matter what you have, you can do something with it and give back. And that was kind of the mentality that we were all brought up to believe in Ireland and to believe here in America as volunteers.
So how did you finally end up at Homes with Hope?
Well, I had been involved in working in the business world in Manhattan. I worked at Solomon Smith Barney, and I did other jobs in the business world. And right after 9/11, I was working at Seven World Trade Center at the time, and I actually wasn't there, thank goodness, but many of my friends died. And I decided at that point I wasn't going to work in that business anymore. I was going to go back from having a business degree to having a social work degree. And I decided I wanted to be a social worker. And along the road, I had met some people and got a job as a social worker or a case manager. at an agency called The Connection, and I worked there for 18 years and went from being a case manager to a program manager to a program director, and wrote grants and assisted all different jobs along the way. So no matter what job there is in Homes with Hope, I have done them all throughout the years, and excited to be able to support the staff and assist with the different sectors that it takes to run an agency and do good things like what Homes with Hope does here in Westport.
Homes with Hope, people may not know, but it's been around for over 30 years.
Yes, that's right, Dan. Homes with Hope began about 37 years ago, and it began a gentleman, Pete Powell, who was the founding president, saw that there was a huge need in Westport. There was homeless people sleeping in the pews in churches, and that's how it began. And it began in a fire station, actually. And then Westport is a brilliant town. It's a really supportive town. And the town of Westport dedicated a building right across the street, the Gillespie Centre, to home. At that time it was called Interfaith Housing, which later on became Homes with Hope. And the building was donated to support the most vulnerable in the community. And it's kind of hard to believe, just where we are here at the Westport Library, right across the street is the Gillespie Centre, which is the home of a homeless shelter for men and women here in Westport. And we're very proud to be able to be a solution of large city issues. Homelessness is a big problem in large cities, and Westport is a very unique town that's an answer to supporting the homeless. And if more small towns in America did what Homes with Hope is doing, and the town of Westport, it would be a better country, I think, a better place, because affluent towns like Westport have a lot of resources and a lot of supports that are needed in order to help the most vulnerable get from A to B, or A to Z, actually.
Yeah. And in fact, the Homes with Hope is located directly behind Tiffany's. And that's, that, as you said, that says something about the community. But what causes homelessness in a town like Westport? Who are the homeless? What makes them homeless? And is a homeless person in Fairfield County different from someone in New York City?
There's no difference. Everybody needs a chance in life, and different things happen that people become homeless. There's myths out there about different ways people can become homeless and why people are homeless. But the fact is that anybody can become homeless. It's something that happens to, it's not colour, there's not race, there's people in every economic status that can become homeless. Sometimes it's a divorce, sometimes it's mental health, sometimes substance use, a combination dual diagnosis, all different things. But it's necessary to have agencies like Homes with Hope that can individually pick every client and decide, well, what's going on, what do you need, and get them back on their feet through intensive case management. And we have wonderful case managers. They work really, really hard. And from the day the person comes into Homes with Hope, they sit down with them, they say, well, what's going on? If it's a mental health issue, they're supported by one of the local organisations like Positive Directions, or another local clinician that will help them to get back on their feet. If it's substance use, there's different groups. When people are ready to do that, AA, different pots of groups that will help people. And everybody needs a helping hand sometimes. Our young people in our programs sometimes don't have the parents to support them, so we kind of become like parents, support in any sort of way that we can in order to help people get back on their feet.
So it's I think the misperception might be that it's a place where people crash for the night and maybe get a meal, but it's much more than that.
It's a lot more than that. It's true, they crash for the night for a good few nights until they get back on their feet, but they also feel supported. The Westport community is very supportive to Homes with Hope. People come in, now with COVID, obviously we had to stop and do things differently, but people haven't stopped taking care of the most vulnerable in this pandemic. Our donors and volunteers still bring food to Gillespie. It's just done a little bit different now. The food is served by our staff. But the community, the people that sleep there feel very supported by the community and very part of the community. You'll see them cycling around the town we provide everybody with a bicycle if they know how to cycle, and integrate into the community. And it's a lot of fun for the people that are at the Gillespie to feel part of the community and to figure out how they can get back on their feet, to have an apartment. It's really, really expensive to live in Fairfield County. People need 3 jobs at minimum wage in order to afford a little studio or a 1-bedroom. So there's a lot of education, a lot of support with getting into trade schools or different jobs, whatever it takes to get people back on their feet.
Do you have favorite success stories?
Oh, I have so many success stories. And we had our stand-up event recently, and many of the people that talked on that told their great success stories. And, you know, one story that I always remember is a lady who was an attorney, and she was working, being a very productive member of society, but due to some trauma that happened in her life, and she really ended up becoming homeless. She lost her job as an attorney. She ended up wanting to, which is very common, let anybody know that she was homeless, ended up living in hotels and ran out of money and ended up in a shelter, and eventually ended up in our shelter, Homes with Hope, and left to get into housing, and now is a very productive member of society, getting her law degree reinstated or getting back in action with that, has a few jobs, and doing really, really well. So she is a good example of the people that we serve. Everybody that comes in has different stories, but there's so many brilliant stories and mighty people that everybody deserves a chance, but people that have taken the opportunity to get out of homelessness and get on their feet in a very productive way.
I know you provide computers for job training and things like that. Again, which a lot of people don't necessarily know. And I think I know that you have a soft spot in your heart for young girls.
That's right.
It was called Project Concern, and what's it called now? Or Project Return?
Project Return, Susie's House.
Susie's House.
So that's a home that supports young people, and we have that house has become like a hub for our services. Over the years, things change and services change. And there's a model now called rapid rehousing, and there's shared housing. So the house, Susie's House, is a shared housing model where people can really integrate into the community, and young people can be supported, and the community is very involved in a house like that. And we also run our HEAL program, which helps young people to be productive in the community as well, and by giving back and doing all sorts of different projects. So there's so much going on at the Project Return Susie's House to support young people, and it is something I have a soft part in my heart for, because there should be no young person that doesn't have a home or doesn't have some supports in order to help them to get to where they need. Everybody needs help in hand, and that's a program that really helps people to get back on their feet.
And what about some of the other programs, the lesser known ones that people might not have heard about?
We have a lot of scattered, 52 actually, scattered site houses and apartments that people come from homelessness, and the children are integrated into the school system. And we have an after-school program that helps the kids to stay on track level with the wonderful education there is here in Westport. It's really important to get that chance in life, because not all the school systems is like Westport. I always tell a story about when I was younger and I worked with this family in Bridgeport, and they had 5 daughters, and the woman came to me and she said, I want my daughters, she's all to do well at school, and they're all getting A's, especially the older daughter, and she would love to get into a private school. And I says, oh, don't worry, I know people at Laurentil Hall, and let's see if we can get her into Laurentil Hall. So we had got the opportunity to look into getting her in there, and she went and she did the exam, and I said she's going to pass it, no problem, she'll do mighty because she's an A student. And then the person I went and met on a home visit, and the woman said she didn't get into Laurentil Hall. And I said, well, that's very strange because she's an A student. So I got in contact with Laurentil Hall for them to call to see what happened that she didn't get in. And the woman said, well, she only got like 30-something%. I said, well, that's not right because she's an A student. And she said, she's an A student in a failing school. And she was doing the best she could do with what was going on at the school. So it made me very sad, because that girl was a brilliant young lady and she deserved to get the opportunity. But it was just the schools. Once you go to some of the failing schools and just turn up and keep with the program, you'll do good, you'll get grades, but you're not going to be able to keep up with getting into a good college and getting to the next step. So it's really, really important for our children to be in the Westport schools and get the education that they deserve, and get to move on to college and to trade schools and to be a productive member of society. And there's no place like Westport that can provide that level of education to the people that we serve.
Wow. Well, why do you think that Westport has been so supportive of Homes with Hope?
I think it's the leadership and the government, people that work here in Westport and have the decision making with their properties, with just a mindset of giving back. The first selectman, Jim Marpy, now has been on the board of Homes with Hope. He believes in giving back. He believes that people need a second chance, and that Westport is a wonderful place. He's leading a wonderful town, and he knows that it takes every sort of person to make up a community, and they want the town of Westport wants to endorse Homes with Hope at all times and make sure that we're a big part of the town, because there has to be a balance, and I think Homes with Hope brings a nice balance to the town as well.
Any unsung heroes, people who are doing things behind the scenes to help that people may not know about?
Oh, there's so many volunteers that help. We have every day a different volunteer bringing in lunch and dinner, and nobody really knows that this is going on behind the scenes. A lot of people, our food is all cooked in people's homes. And I have a funny story to tell you, Dan. This I really enjoyed. In the middle of the pandemic, we had to move the people that were living at Gillespie to a hotel, actually 2 different hotels, but they moved from the hotels then onto rapid rehousing. So there was some government money was given to support people getting into rapid rehousing. So there was one fella, and he had been at Gillespie, but he was waiting for his housing and there was a delay. And he ended up, when we came back to Gillespie, coming back. And I said, oh, do you like all the changes? Because we had done up the floors and painted the place and put up dividers, and the Gillespie Centre's looking brilliant. So I said, what do you think? And he says, oh, it's lovely and it looks great. And I said, what about the food? We're getting food now. We had, for a short time, had got food to the hotels from restaurants. And he says, oh, the restaurant food is lovely, but there's nothing like food that's cooked in somebody's home.
Wow.
And he says, I haven't had a home for many, many years. And the love of the people that cook the food, and you could feel it in the taste of the food. It was just lovely to get home cooked food. So the restaurant food was nice, but the home cooked food is better.
Wow.
So I just thought that was nice, because I always like to get restaurant food. It's a treat for me, but the people we serve felt that the treat was to get something cooked in people's homes. And our volunteers cook the nicest food, all sorts of food from all around the world, and they're unique people. And we also have a huge amount of volunteers that volunteer at our after-school program. And that's a great program that the residents that are supported by our programs, their children can come, feel safe, get the supports needed to academically be involved in the school, and feel that all the supports is there. Our children can't always afford, like what a lot of other people in Westport can afford, to have a mentor and have some extra help with somebody being paid for to support them with their school, or parents that are able to always do the homework. So we have that kind of help available, and in our program, that each child gets the support that they need to really feel part of Westport and be the wonderful kid in the school that's able to keep up with the grades, which isn't easy.
No. So you're not only someone who gets things done and solves problems, but you look ahead. So what are your short and long-term goals for Homes with Hope?
I've got a lot of goals for Homes with Hope. First of all, I want to make sure that we continue to build relationships in the community. I would love to get to know the young people that have moved to Westport from other places, and let them see what we're doing in the community, have their children come volunteer and be involved with our agency, and give back. That's a short-term goal. Actually, it will run into a long-term goal to mentor those relationships with the volunteers in the community. As a long-term goal, I think that in order to keep people housed, we need more affordable housing stock. So one of my goals is to be proactive in supporting and advocating for affordable and supportive housing in Westport and throughout the state of Connecticut, because nobody wants to see anybody homeless, but we can't really solve a problem without enough stock of housing. So I would love to see more and more housing, more and more facilities offering mixed housing, that there are some units set aside for the most vulnerable to be able to integrate back into the community. Yeah,
I think, in all the discussions we have around housing, that people say, I don't want this big mass of I don't want big buildings in town. But I think what Homes with Hope has done, you talked about the scattered housing, is there's housing around town, small units, that people don't even realize is there, right?
No, our homes, all the homes that are involved with Homes with Hope, have beautiful flowers, lovely planters. The people that live there really take pride in their homes. So our homes are all around town, and you wouldn't even know that they were part of Homes with Hope or a program. And we really integrate the programs into the community, or we're a big part of the community, and it takes all sorts to make a community. It takes rich and middle class and people that are working to be in a better financial situation, and that's what we're all about.
I would imagine, I'm just taking a wild guess here, it takes money as well.
It sure does, Dan. Everything takes money.
So where does your funding come from?
We get a little bit of funding from the government, but over 70% of our funding comes from the generosity of the people in the community and local communities. We have very generous donors and sponsors and different people that care about an issue of homelessness and making sure that everybody in their community are well taken care of. So, and we also get some money from local foundations.
So if someone wants to volunteer either their time or their checkbook or both?
There's always an opportunity to support Homes with Hope. But I would say before you write that check, come and see what the check is being used for. I would like to take people to tour our programs if they're feeling safe and being back out again in the community, and see the Gillespie Centre, see the after school program. We also didn't even mention the program that run out of Gillespie. We have a food pantry but also a community kitchen where anybody in need of food can come for lunch and dinner and have a nice warm meal. Lately we've been having the meals that people can take it with them. But it's a very welcoming community, and that's another part that people would enjoy to see, how we're so integrated into the community. So I'd welcome anybody that would like to learn more about Homes with Hope to come meet me, give me a call, look at our website, see some of our client stories. We have a lovely new website, and it's worthwhile checking out because we have small little tidbits of programs and stories from our clients, and they're all success stories because we see more successes than failures. There's very little people that come into Homes with Hope that don't get to be in a better place in life, and we really promote self-sufficiency, moving on to a better place in life and doing it with the support of many people. So it takes a village, and we're part of a village, and it takes a lot of people to be in that village to make it a wonderful one.
And the website is hwhct.org?
Yeah.
Okay. So the last question, I guess, is when people come, when you give them a tour, what's their reaction?
Surprise. People that have not heard of Homes with Hope before, that I meet and I say, "I'll come see what we do," are very, very surprised. A lot of people do not realise. I can actually look across the street now from the library, or on the stage of the library, and look across and see Homes with Hope's Gillespie Centre, and a lot of people walk by it every day, go to the nice restaurants next door, and they have no idea that there's a homeless shelter right downtown in Westport. And it just shows you how well the shelter is run, how the organisation just fits in, and how our people fit in. Nobody causes any trouble. Everybody is just doing the best that they can to get to the next step in their life where they will have a roof over their head. And we all need a roof over our head. It's a basic need in life, and we are here to make sure that everybody that comes to our door gets food and shelter.
Wow, the basics of life. And, sometimes I think in Westport, we think about big houses and big cars and big things, and you and Homes with Hope are providing these basic necessities to people, and you're doing it with the great support of the community. It's got to be very fulfilling to you.
It is. It's very fulfilling to all the staff and myself and the board of directors. We have a wonderful board of directors that really, really care and really support our agency. Because we're small and we don't have an awful lot of staff, a lot of our staffing is supported by the board of directors. So they have all different committees and really support us. But you're right. It's really a wonderful thing, and I'm excited to be leading this organisation forward.
Thank you. Helen McAlinden, the CEO and president of Homes with Hope, Westport's nonprofit dedicated to ending and preventing homelessness in Fairfield County. And we invite you to check out their website, hwhct.org. And as Helen has said, give her a call and stop by and see what they're doing.
Thank you, Dan.
Thanks, Helen.